What's going on, everyone? It is me, Matty, for LFC Transfer Room, and in today's video we are going to be looking at who will line up for Liverpool potentially on the 13th of August in our first game against Chelsea in the Premier League. Hello and welcome back to another video. We are going to go straight into it because I feel like the midfielder talk will take a bit longer than the rest of the side because who's going to play there, we don't know. Alisson Becker has got to be the first name on the team sheet. I think in any team in the world, he'd be the first name on a team sheet. For me, he's the best goalkeeper in the world. The comparisons to Ederson are laughable because he's levels above him. I think Alexis Becker, without him last year, Liverpool would have been a mid-table side. He's always been so important for us. You think back to the year where we needed that goal against West Brom. Alexis Becker, who would have thought it would be him? And then last year, the amount of performances he gave when the side was so poor, he was the only consistent player within that side. So for me, first name on the team sheet has to be, and I think pretty much the whole back four pretty much picks itself, really. Obviously, there is a few question marks around Andy Robertson with his performances last year, but we'll start from the right side and just say Trent. Again, probably the second name on the team sheet. Potential, at the time we're recording this, there hasn't been a new captain announced for Liverpool. Potentially could be leading the side out, maybe, who knows. Jurgen Klopp did say he's always had long captains as a manager, and I don't think if you give it to Van Dijk, he'd be here for like 5-6 years, but I don't think Klopp will be either. So it'll be interesting to see who he gives the captaincy to. I think Trent maybe needs a few years as vice captain under maybe Van Dijk or something before getting it, but he could be leading the side out. But again, second name on the team sheet for me has to be Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's our most creative player, and in this new system, he's absolutely deadly. Same with the centre-backs as well. I think they picked themselves, really. I think you're going to have Ibu on the right and Virgil on the left. I think that's our strongest centre-back partnership. I know there has been talk of Liverpool bringing a left-sided centre-back in, but I think that's more to replace Robbo. Because when Liverpool do attack and we're on the transition of play, we do seem to drop into a back three, where Andy Robertson did get the pelters last year because he weren't the Andy Robertson that we know and love. But I do think Andy Robertson will probably be the football Twitter scapegoat this year, because there's always a scapegoat for Liverpool. Looks like it's probably going to be Robbo because you've got no one else to moan about now. Everyone else they did moan about has now left. But first game of the season, I do think Andy Robbo will start. There's that much change in the midfield. We don't know who's going to play there. People are saying we look weak in midfield, but we'll get into that in a minute. I don't think we are. But I think even if we did bring a player in like Levi Colwill, who's very heavily linked, a boyhood Red apparently wants to force a move to Liverpool, I can't see us starting him, especially against Chelsea, his old club, his first game, just because if he did make a mistake, the pelters, whatever, I think with there being that much change in midfield, I think the first few weeks we will see Andy Robertson playing that left centre-back role just while other players bed in, etc., etc. But I think first game of the season, it has to be Andy Robbo. So the back five for me would be Ali, Trent, Ibu, Van Dijk, Robbo. And I think that's set in stone. That won't change because none of them are going to depart. And even if we bring new players in the back line, I do think that will be what starts, because Jurgen Klopp has lost everyone else as a leader really out of the midfield. So I think he will want to make sure his back four and the keeper maintain the same, just to add that, I don't know the word, add that like continuity really into the side. Moving on to the six, it's tough. It's very tough because at the time of recording, we haven't got Lavia in yet. Jordan Henderson did complete his move 2 days ago to Allister. It looks like Fabinho is going to be going to Al-Ittihad this week as well for 40 mil. That's 52 million, by the way, for all this deadwood from midfield, who probably was not good enough to start for Liverpool. Myself, think it's a bit ludicrous to let all your senior midfielders go in one summer. I'm talking Milner, Henderson, Fabinho. Granted, probably not good enough to play for Liverpool week in, week out anymore. But I would have quite liked Fabinho to stay a season, for Lavia to learn off him. Henderson, again, I would have quite liked them to have stayed and done the Milner role, to be honest. He's the captain of the club, the leader, and we've seen what the players think of him. He's thought so highly of, and I do think losing so many leaders is it's a big risk for Liverpool, but I do still think we'll win the Premier League this year. Big, bold statements there before the season's even kicked off, but I always believe that, and I think if you didn't believe it, football's boring, isn't it? If you just think that you're just going to be do nothing that season. Do you know what I mean? You should go in with the intention of thinking you're going to win the lot. But against Chelsea, I think our 6 will be Thiago Alcantara. Now, I know he's not went to Singapore because he's injured. Shock. But I think this is the first season in the time he spent at Liverpool that Thiago can actually be used as a luxury midfielder, which is what we bought him for. Thiago is probably one of the top 5 midfielders in the Premier League, if not the world, when fit. And I don't think anyone can argue that. He is absolutely must. He's one of the best players I've seen with my own eyes, genuinely. And when you think about midfielders we've seen, like Alonso, Mascherano, Gerrard, like you're talking about severely talented midfielders. Thiago, to me, is one of the best I've ever seen. And I think he will probably start in that 6 for the first few weeks of the season, purely because Lavia wasn't in at the start of pre-season. He's going to have half a pre-season with Klopp, and we know that Klopp likes to have players fully bedded in before starting them. And I know that with Lavia, he probably is going to be our starting 6. He's, honest to God, I'll say it on this video, I think he's going to be a £100 million footballer by the end of this year. He's the future of Belgium's midfield, really. He's that good. He is that good. Why do you think City wanted the buyback clause on? You could say they've done it with all the academy prospects, but I can guarantee if no one buys Lavia this year, City will buy him next summer back. He's that good. He's so good. And I'm so excited to see him in a Liverpool shirt, but I do think that he won't start against Chelsea. And maybe this might be where we see Thiago used as that luxury midfielder option, where he starts against Chelsea, first game of the season. Then we've got Newcastle 2 weeks after that, but we've got Bournemouth in between. So it might be where you have Chelsea with Thiago, then you play Lavia against Bournemouth, then you play Thiago against Newcastle. And then we have got a run of games then, really, where we've got like Aston Villa, Wolves, West Ham, where you could then play Lavia, and then you bring Thiago back in for Tottenham. So then bigger games, so to speak, where you're playing a side, and Newcastle's definitely included in them bigger games now. They're playing Champions League, we aren't, but I think Thiago should be used against your Cities, your Uniteds, your Chelseas, your Newcastles, your Tottenhams. Big games, that should be where Thiago should have been used from day one, really, and he never was. We relied on him too much. And this is the first season where Thiago probably can be a bit of a luxury. And I think in that 6th position, it'll be him or Bajcetic who starts against Chelsea rather than Lavia, purely because Lavia hasn't had the full pre-season with Liverpool, so it might be a few weeks into the season before we start to see him feature. And I don't think he'll ever be dislodged. I think he's that good, and people are saying he's only had 1 year of senior minutes, but I think if you're good enough, you're old enough. That's an old saying, and he definitely is good enough to play that 6 for Liverpool. But I do think it'll be Thiago on opening weekend. And then you've got the players in front of that. It's got to be Alexis and Dom. It has to be. I mean, there's an argument. I know I'm going to get pelters in the comments for this, but there's an argument that Curtis Jones could potentially start in the left side of midfield and maybe play Alexis McAllister as a defensive midfielder, because he has played that previously and done very well at Brighton, playing in the DM when he's been called upon. But I think the fans want to see Alexis and Dom more attacking. I think Jurgen, what he's seen in pre-season, the clips you've seen, wants to see Alexis and Dom more attacking. But if it goes with what Jurgen's thinking, if he wants some continuity in the side, I think Curtis Jones will start. And to be fair to him, you can give me as much hate in the comments as you want. Curtis Jones, towards the end of last season, then he carried his form on into the Euros, was man of the match in the semi-final, man of the match in the final, and was unbelievable for England in that Euro campaign. I think he's turned his career around, and we're finally starting to see what Curtis Jones adds to this side, what Jurgen Klopp's been seeing for a number of years. But against Chelsea, I do think it'll be McAllister and Szoboszlai. You're not going to not start your brand new £70 million midfielder who's been there since day one of pre-season. And you're not going to not start McAllister, who's got Premier League experience, when we need a new midfield. So maybe it might change a bit. Maybe see Jones start in the 6. He's done that very well for us. But I'd say, if I had to set it in stone, I'd say it's going to be Thiago, Szoboszlai on the right side of the midfield, and Alexis on the left side of the midfield, because the beauty of them two is they can play left or right. So if Szoboszlai goes forward, McAllister can cover the right, and vice versa. Like, they can intertwine a lot during the game. So I think it's a very exciting time to be a Liverpool fan with our new midfield, to be fair. It looks very, very exciting. And Szoboszlai, if he can be as good as he was at Leipzig, I think Liverpool have got the bargain of the summer getting him for 70 mil. Moving on to the attack now. For me, I'd probably say he's probably one of the first names on the team sheet. It's Luis Diaz. Now, left side of our attack is a position where many people don't know what's going to happen because you've got Jota, Gakpo, and Diaz, who are all very strong left-sided attackers. Luis Diaz, Lucho, is the best attacker we've got. Bar Mo Salah. When Diaz is on the ball, the last time I remember a footballer playing for Liverpool and making me sit on the edge of my seat, and every time you got the ball, you knew something had happened. Now, there's arguments for Mo Salah, but for me, the last player who got me excited every single time he touched the football was Luis Suarez. Luis Diaz gets me that excited. When he's on the ball, you know he's going to do something. Even if he gets it to the bylines and whips it in, something can happen. You know when he gets the ball, something is going to happen going forward. I'm not saying we'll score. It could be saved, could go out for a corner, could go wide, whatever. But when he gets the ball, you know something's going to happen. So for me, he's got to be one of the first names on the team sheet for Liverpool. Likewise, on the right side, Mo Salah, he definitely is one of the first names on the team sheet. Again, another argument for captain of Liverpool, to be fair. However, got 2 years left on his deal. Is he going to get a pay rise on what he's already on? That's what you've got to factor in, really. You want a captain who's going to be a captain for the next few years, not someone who you know could potentially go as early as next summer to Saudi. Because you're a fool if you don't think Saudi Arabia are going to get their poster boy Mohamed Salah in that league in the next few years. It's sad, but it's going to happen. But for next year, definitely, he's a good pool player, and he's one of the first names on the team sheet. So for me, left and right side of the attack has to be Salah and Diaz. When they're fit and available, Salah's always fit and available. But if they're both fit and available, they're the starting two. Then you've got the 9, false 9, whatever you want to call that position for Liverpool in this new system. You've then basically got Núñez, Gakpo, and Jota battling it out to be there, really, starting. And if you would have asked me this 6 months ago, I would have said Cody Gakpo, 100%. He's the nailed-on starter. He's come in, he's took Darwin's position because he came in and he was probably the most carbon copy of Roberto Firmino we're going to find. He could do the false 9 fantastically. He could track back, get the ball back, win the ball back, pass it on. He could score. He could probably a little bit better of a finisher than Roberto Firmino as well, which is mad to say because Bobby was I'm going to miss Bobby this year. He was majestic. But I do think Gakpo offers that little bit more going forward. He's not as selfless as Bobby. He's happy to score and stuff like that. So I do strongly believe that we'll see Gakpo start in that position. My mind changed a bit the last few weeks when Darwin got given a number 9 share because I don't think you give a player number 9 to sit on the bench. I think giving Darwin number 9 is a statement. You're me man. Imagine the confidence that's going to give him. He's been given number 9 for Liverpool Football Club. Jurgen could have said to him, you're number 9, you're the man. You're going to start for us. You're the man. But I think against Chelsea, because they're so good defensively, and we've seen last year with the boring draws, I think Gakpo just maybe could offer that bit more, and then bringing Darwin on the 60th, 70th minute, that burst of pace, the energy, the want to prove everyone wrong when Chelsea are running a little bit tired. I think that works better. Be very interesting to see what the plan is, really. We've got a lot of attackers for positions where 2 of the 3, in my opinion, are nailed on. I don't think you'll see Jota or Gakpo starting over Diaz. I think Jota, Gakpo and Núñez are all fighting for that one position. So it's interesting, really. One thing's for sure, we're stacked going forward. We've got a lot of depth going forward, and it's an exciting time to be a Red. So running down from the full 11, for me, against Chelsea, starting day of the season, it's going to be Alisson, Trent, Ibu, Van Dijk, Robertson, Thiago, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Salah, Gakpo, Diaz. And then our bench, doesn't it already look better, by the way? Our bench next year could be Kelleher, Jota, Núñez, Jones, Elliott, Bajcetic, Doak, Gomez, Matip. There's 9 subs. It already looks like a stronger squad. And all this outcry of we need 3 more midfielders because we've let this many go. Milner, Ox, and Keita probably played about, I don't know a definite, but not many minutes last year between them. Maybe 300 minutes max. One midfielder replaces that. One midfielder. In last season, we've seen Curtis Jones rise. We've seen Harvey Elliott be Harvey Elliott and continue to rise. So I think having a midfield options of Bajcetic, Lavia, Thiago, Jones, Elliott, Szoboszlai and McAllister, well stronger than last year. And we've got rid of the deadwood. Fantastic time to be a Red. I'm not going to have a score prediction for opening day of the season because I'm really unsure. But one thing I am positive on is we're going to win a lot this year. If you have liked the video, let me know in the comments who your starting 11 would be. If there's anyone who you change in the starting 11, be interesting to compare and see if anyone agrees or disagrees with what I've said here. But yeah, leave a like and subscribe if you're watching the video. Don't forget we do stream every day at 7:30. You don't want to miss them. I've been Matty for LFC Transfer Room, and nice one for watching.